Welcome back to another episode of Backstage in WWE. It's just like, whose line is it anyway? But to Brad, the wrestling and storylines don't matter. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm still upset from what you said on Twitter today, so I'm not happy. I poo-pooed, as like a Vince Russo would say, everything.
Hopefully, you'll tell us about it.
Oh, you already know. Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you better call someone to help
to watch the show that I write because nobody else does.
That's going to be fun. I have to, speaking of that, I have to find where SmackDown Live ratings, I need to get that up for whenever we actually just completely trash the show.
It's pretty much the friends and family of Road Dogg at this point, I think.
No, actually, the ratings went up this past week, believe it or not.
Well, that's because Baron Corbin was in the main event.
That means nothing. Literally nothing. Where was the show? Where did it emanate from? Come on. I don't want SmackDown anymore. You're the one that does. SmackDown Live, what was it? 220? 18 Arena. What the hell? Phoenix, the Talking Stick Resort Arena. And you're meaning to tell me that their ratings went up? They went up by about 106,000 people. How about that? It's progress.
Well, they made a change to the main event picture.
Yeah. Their show was 4th on cable. And they're... Okay, trivia. What kind of ratings did SmackDown get when Paul Heyman was writing it in the mid-2000s?
The hell do I know that?
You're older than me?
Like the Encyclopedia Britannica?
Yeah, sure. Of wrestling ratings. Okay,
well, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably 1 billion.
You're not even playing along.
No.
So, let's just say this, whenever the Attitude Era was in full swing, the ratings were in the 5s, were they not? For both shows, right?
Yeah, they were definitely higher.
Okay. Yeah. Normally it would fluctuate between the 4s and the 5s, which is incredible, right? That's I wouldn't say that's like Friends or Seinfeld worthy, but it's up there. Huge ratings for a wrestling show. Imagine that.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. All right.
Just like my hands.
Again, I'm trying to be a professional. The ratings for SmackDown and Raw were the best they've ever been, and they've gotten close a couple of times since then. But normally, it's wrestling. There's not as much fans as there once was. We're talking the 4s and the 5s. Last week, their rating was a 0.8. 0.8 among the male demographic of 18 to 49. Brad just coughed. I'm killing the gimmick. 2, and I have a reason for saying all of that, because while SmackDown continues to have the worst show that it has ever had, possibly. There you go. Monday Night Raw turned out one of the best shows that they have ever done. And I mean that. Why? Why? Yes, why do you think that I think that? Because, it was an hour and a half of wrestling. A. And
it was
B.
more than that.
Well, for what? Okay.
107 minutes of straight wrestling, to be exact.
And guess where the rating boost went?
It went from all the smart marks tuning in, the same ones who watch ROH and Indies and New Japan that just want to see all wrestling all the time and 5-star matches. And, so that small niche part of the audience tuned back in to see that.
So let's get into why you're wrong. So Monday Night Raw starts with the longest wrestling match in WWE history. Won by a guy that wrestled for, I think, 3 minutes of it. You said 107 straight minutes of wrestling.
Yeah.
It was a gauntlet match with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns kicking it off. Let's begin there. Great match between the two. Seth gets the pin. The place goes nuts. And what are your thoughts? Did Roman lose a bet backstage, or did he get caught with steroids again? Neither of which are true.
Well, I guess we'll find out about the latter. What are my thoughts on the longest match ever? It was a really long match. It was a really good match. So I totally respect that. I mean, in-ring work was great. Seth Rollins' performance was outstanding. I thought it really gave him a lot of momentum, you know, as I told you earlier today. But, you know, that's going to play to a certain audience, right? I mean, fake fights nonstop with no real characters and stories on a TV show is going to play to a strictly hardcore wrestling audience. And that's my gripe with it, essentially, is, you know, you're not trying to get in the casual fan when you do that. And so having a mainstream casual audience means more money. More money means more money for the wrestlers, the company, and it's generally a better product for fans. So, you know, I want to see wrestling be as successful as possible, and you're not going to do that when you have 2 hours of straight wrestling. But so that's my gripe with it, is I thought it's playing a little too much to the hardcore audience, but I thought it was great. I mean, a great match. I just, you know, you're not going to keep casual fans tuned in if you're doing that. They're just not going to be interested in 2 straight hours of fake fights.
So I understand
characters and stories.
I understand that the casual fan might not like it, but it isn't the casual fan that keeps coming back. It's the hardcore wrestling idiot like me that keeps coming back, saying that I'm just not going to watch anymore. This is stupid, or Road Dogg's a dumbass. No, it's us coming back regardless of what we say. You've said yourself you've hated certain things, even last week, but you're still watching every week. And I think even if you didn't do it as part of your job every day, you would still watch.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore fan.
Me too.
Make no mistake about it. I've been watching for over 30 years. But in being a hardcore fan, I also like the elements that a casual fan likes. I really like the characters and stories that we saw in the Attitude Era and even in the Golden Era. And so that's what I want to see today. I want to see a mix of maybe some better quality matches without guys killing themselves, but also the characters and the stories that we really don't see today, but did back then.
Well, that's what
I think there's a happy medium for that they haven't found yet.
Well, that's what Rollins did. Did you see him do a very dangerous and risky move? I don't believe so. In the hour that I saw him wrestle on Monday, he was self-composed. I mean, hell, I don't think that he even went out of the ring more than once.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, it was a great performance, but again, you know, a casual fan is not going to watch 2 straight hours of fake fights.
They will once every 10 years.
You know, I mean, it's just.
I mean, that hasn't happened since.
Look, if you just have to decide, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know, and this goes back to even the Royal Rumble. You know, if you're talking about playing to the hardcore fan base, then Asuka and Shinsuke were good picks.
They were.
But if you were trying to get a casual fan audience to watch going into WrestleMania season, then they were not the right picks. And so again, you know, you can't serve the 2 masters. They need to decide what they want to do, and yeah, I think it's a constant internal conflict with them. And so yeah, I thought, you know, I enjoyed it for the most part, but what I'm saying is an honest critique that while I can enjoy it as a hardcore fan, I also understand that, you know, some of the other elements I would also like to see that casual fans like need to be on the show as well. And I think the 3rd hour was, you know, 688,000 viewers dropped in the 3rd hour, which is, you know, the biggest in a long time.
And do you think that there's 688,000 hardcore wrestling people that tuned off just because of that?
Yeah, I mean, look at the first 2 hours were all straight wrestling, and then the 3rd hour, when they started doing something else, a lot of them started dropping off. Plus, I mean, let's be honest, the 3rd hour is a total give up. They really don't try. The 3rd hour was just really atrocious. It was just terrible. I mean, you know, you might as well have kept the show at 2 hours.
Well, the wrestling should be 2 hours. You know, Raw. There's no way it shouldn't.
Yeah, I want to. So I want to talk about the gauntlet match was one thing, and yes, Braun wins, and I think that was probably the right decision.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the elephant in the room here, and that would be Asuka.
Nia defeats you this Sunday at Elimination Chamber.
And I want you to listen.
Not only will she have broken your streak, but she's also going to be added to the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. How concerned are you about your WrestleMania match becoming a triple threat? I control my own destiny. My destiny is to win the championship at WrestleMania!
She's pointing to the sign.
She's had some pretty bold things to say, that she doesn't fear you and that she believes she is the only woman that can break your streak. What's your response to that? Nia likes to talk. But on Sunday, she will not be talking. She will tap out.
Oh, wait a minute, Nia Jax.
Okay, so the promo ended up, the point is, getting really awkward at a point. And I won't bore you with the whole thing. The point I'm making is that
It's not her fault. It's not.
it is
Why is it her
awkward
fault?
as fuck.
Yeah, sure.
Go sit there and put her out there for a long promo on live TV in front of the crowd.
Why is that
And
her
ask
fault?
her to cut a promo, and she can't speak English hardly.
Hardly.
And she's struggling to talk, and the crowd is starting. You can sense the mood in the crowd is awkward, and some of them start chanting, "What? Man, that is not the right way to present a top talent." And obviously that's how they're pushing her. I mean, I wouldn't push someone. I think she's overrated, and I wouldn't put her in that position. But you can't present someone you view as a top talent and stick them out there to do that. And I think what they're thinking is, oh, well, that's it's going to help her improve. But you can't do that. You have to protect her a little bit more.
That's not her fault.
Position.
It's not her fault. The writers.
Okay, but what did she expect going to a largely American headquartered wrestling company?
You don't have to talk. You don't have to talk.
Of course you do. It's entertainment, dude.
Brock
This is
Lesnar
big
has
fight.
said
You have to
10
drop
words.
people in.
No.
Of course you have to talk. I mean, there's exceptions like Goldberg. She's no Goldberg, okay? Yeah. I just don't. What is the Empress of Tomorrow? And what is this Rainbow Bright look? And she bumps people with her butt in the ring. And, she can hardly speak English. But she does good, strong style moves, right? That could hurt people. I just don't understand. The Asuka thing to me is way overrated. But, it is what it is. I mean, they've put her in this position, and that's fine. But they've got to protect her. And I thought this promo was, frankly, maybe the worst I've seen in recent history in professional wrestling. It was really bad.
Again, they shouldn't put her in that position. That's not on her. If they don't make Nakamura do it, Nakamura can speak just about the same amount of English. They don't give him a 4-question interview. They give him a 1-question interview, and then someone interrupts him. So they'll protect him, but not her, while she personally gets a better reaction, a bigger pop, and historically in the company has had a much better success. So what's the difference? What's the point? They threw her out to the wolves because Vince doesn't give a damn. That's all it is.
Well, it could be. I don't know what it is. I just know it. And Nakamura, like you said, they put him out there, and he's been terrible too. But of course,
they don't do it as bad.
A little more protected, right? They've never sent him out for that long of an interview. I mean, this went on. It seemed like forever, and she just couldn't answer the questions. She's sitting there and thinking of the American word. What is the English word for this that I would use to express it? It was just like so awkward. And
okay, did Umaga ever talk? No, he yelled in Samoan, for Christ's sake, and he was a very good mid-major wrestler. He didn't have to do anything.
Not the main event. He didn't win the Royal Rumble.
I understand that, but you still, again, but yes, Asuka is Goldberg on that level. She hasn't lost in 300 wrestling matches.
She's drawn nothing. What do you mean? She's not even comparable to Goldberg. Goldberg's like a mainstream star. Asuka's like something that only New Japan marks have heard of. That's not even comparable.
For the women, yes, she is. She's on that level for a woman.
She's been undefeated for like 4 months in the main roster anyway, in the context of the story. I mean, unless you're including her NXT quote-unquote developmental, which is, a different story.
I'm a big fan of hers. I think that, that was inexcusable what they did. They should have saw that coming. But
yeah, I hope they don't do that again.
Well, they will. They certainly will. There's no doubt about that. Titus Worldwide is growing on me. I literally almost I would have bought a Cruz Can't Lose shirt, but Cruz did lose his last name, as we found out.
Yeah, but there was a little bit of fake news as to the reason.
Yeah. I thought that was too good to be true, because it was so utterly ridiculous as to why. For those that don't know, Apollo Crews did lose his last name. He is now Apollo. And the rumor that was reported as fact was going around saying that it was because Vince McMahon doesn't want him to be confused with Nicholas Cruz, who just killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida.
Yeah, that
not a thing.
Yeah, not at all. No, that was not the case at all. Yeah. Anyway.
I like Titus O'Neil. I think him on the mic is tremendously funny. I think he's great.
He's interesting. I mean, I think he does a lot of good things. Like, I like Titus O'Neil outside of wrestling more than I do at a wrestling show. Yeah, he does a lot of good things.
Yeah,
he does have a certain charisma and presence to him.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. But I just, as a wrestler, he's just,
Oh, I didn't say wrestler. I said on the mic.
For me. Yeah.
No.
By him and Apollo, it's like, it's very boring. And, they beat the Bar again on Raw. Again. And a non-title match again. And, that's what they have to do. They beat the champions in non-title matches to prove they're a threat, only to lose on the pay-per-view.
Well, big old Shamo is on his way out of the business. So there has to be one way to write him off TV.
Cesaro actually said that Sheamus is one of the best wrestlers in the entire industry.
I would say I wouldn't agree with that per se. However, I would say I think it was one injury he got. Sheamus was, for a long time, very consistent. And don't say consistently boring. That's not funny. That's not positive.
Boring, consistently stiff, consistently bland.
I've always liked Sheamus a little bit. Like, I watched his debut actually in ECW when they were doing their big talent influx with him and Kofi and a few others, Evan Bourne. And I always liked Sheamus. I think he was a good character. I liked his wrestling. Whenever he was him and Cesaro have a good chemistry together. So yeah. I kind of do like that in a sense. Best right now, no. But if you're gonna ask me if I'm gonna put together a wrestling company, I would have to say that I would want Sheamus on it to be like a stable, badass, kind of like Farouk and Bradshaw, the APA, just kind of like ass kickers. I'm cool. I'm cool with Sheamus. I always have been.
Okay, I mean he's 40, so you're not going to get a lot of mileage out of him. But
I'm saying at the beginning of the career,
40 is the new 30.
Is he actually 40? No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
He is 40. He turned 40 last month.
Yeah.
He probably debuted when he was like 34. 2009.
I mean, he's all right. I think he's in a good spot now. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I think he's in a good spot.
I'd say when he was.
I certainly don't think. I mean, I would want Cesaro drug tested if he thinks that is actually.
Hey, you know the guy to do it. Well, you know the guy to deliver it.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo. He'll do a whole documentary on it. We'll get to that
Since the rest WWE loves 6 women tags, how about this? The good girls beat the bad girls, but then each girl pairs up and fights the other bad. It was like bad girl, good girl, kind of like mixed match. How about that?
This was one of the worst women's matches I've seen recently.
Well, they don't give a damn, so why should we?
I mean, Mandy Rose,
greener than goose shit, baby.
She's got a great look, but I mean, she is just. I mean, she looks like she needs, another 10 years in developmental. It was not good.
But how do you make her better?
You put her in NXT developmental and have her work house shows and continue to fake fight with the NXT roster.
She could never wrestle. Even the chick who won Tough Enough could wrestle a little bit. I don't remember her name. It's Wesley Blake's in real life girlfriend who just had a kid. I forget her name. She was very nice. She could actually wrestle somewhat. She was decent for that level.
I don't know. I mean, she doesn't have to be great at it, but it was like that was like worse than the old Divas female wrestling era. It was just really bad.
Like the Kelly Michelle McCool spot at the Rumble.
Yeah, that was like awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, McCool did a good job of covering, and
Oh yeah, she literally picked her up by only her arms, and
it was like so good for her. But yeah, Kelly was a disaster. The Women's Rumble was a disaster. I thought it was pretty bad actually. Match wise.
We already went. Oh, match wise. No, yeah. I'm not gonna go there. So before we get to SmackDown, which kills the mood, because talking about Seth Rollins and that gauntlet match puts me in a very happy mood. Dean stated that he would now like to be positive, bringing the power of positivity back to this podcast, because Brad's 98% negative and I'm 98% positive, so there's a happy medium there. But Dean wants to push it past just happy medium. Brad, this one's for you.
Oh, Brad and Jon, don't you dare be sour. Clap for the promoter of podcast positivity and feel the power.
Are you drunk?
No.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
He even had his own theme music.
Wow.
It is.
He's really putting himself over here.
Day. And after going through all of Brad's negative after negative Twitter posts on the WWE product, yes, yet again, I feel like I have to engage in some positivity for the WWE universe that's listening to this fine podcast. For instance, something from the vault. I may do this from time to time and throw one at you. 1995 Royal Rumble.
Survivor Series.
I just watched this match again. Bret Hart versus Diesel. On what was an otherwise horrific card where you had Undertaker squashing Isaac Yankem, in other words, his brother, Kane, Jerry Lawler, and the Connecticut Blue Blood Triple H. Bret Hart versus Diesel was a shining match of what a championship match should be, what it should build to, psychology in the match, a result that builds towards a heel turn and then explodes with it at the end. It's exactly the type of match that should be booked when you're doing a heel turn on a regular basis. Positive things. Monday Night Raw, the gauntlet match. I'm usually not a fan of gauntlet matches. This one was really something. And viewership says that it seemed to respond. I think some of the right guys went over. I like that Braun kind of tore it up at the end, of course. I like that Roman lost, that Cena lost, positioned Rollins nicely. It did a lot of good things for the people in that match. Usually not a fan, was a fan of this one. But the big thing that I want to talk about that's positive this week is WWE 24. And yeah, you have to have the WWE Network to watch it. But I just watched it recently, and what it does, I mean, peeling back the curtain is something that never happened in my day. they lived under kayfabe, for goodness sake, when I started watching back in the early 1980s. The things that they go through, and it helps you build respect for maybe even performers that you don't even care for. And it's not in the sense of hating them like you want to hate them. I'm talking about X-Pac heat. Like Naomi. Ask John. Last year, man, I was upset when she was in the match. I was upset because I figured they were going to give her the belt. Championship over Alexa. They did. But, watching 24, she's in her hometown. She's battling back from injury. She just finds out that week that she can do it. The culmination of her dream and everything that she has worked so hard for, it kind of was like, okay, you know what? I can respect what you've done. Roman Reigns. Little thing, you might not have noticed if you've seen the program. If you did, go back and watch it again. When Shawn Michaels comes up to him, Roman Reigns calls Shawn Michaels sir. That's respect. And just the weight that he felt as a man of what he was doing, defeating The Undertaker, it really adds something relatable. Maybe
Sorry.
WWE needs to bring out a little bit more in their characters, but it adds something relatable to them as people that even if you don't like the push or you don't agree with the push or you don't agree with the result, but maybe you have respect for the person, and then it becomes easier to just enjoy the product. And that is the power of positivity for this week.
You're rude and disrespectful.
What are you talking about? Who, me?
Yes!
What? What did I do?
You were fake snoring during his power of positivity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because you are incredibly rude to the wrestling fan base and to the product in general.
Oh, Jesus.
If it's not Baron Corbin and Kevin Nash in a Who's Taller match, you hate everything.
Hey, I like that idea.
It is awful.
Such is life. SmackDown Live. Did you watch that? No.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, you didn't miss much. The main event was great.
What?
Although I wasn't happy with AJ beating Baron Corbin.
Corbin is a joke who will never be bigger than Mabel in the mid-1990s.
Oh, that is just ludicrous. He's a future WWE champion.
No, he's not.
Or Universal champion.
No.
Of course he is.
No, he will not.
You're crazy.
I'm crazy. The guy can't stay stable in a push for more than a month.
Well, that's not his fault.
Yes, it's creative's fault. They have nothing for him.
Oh, you didn't know.
Hey, creative had nothing for John Cena until he did it himself.
That's right. He wasn't even going to get a match at WrestleMania, it looks like.
Oh, I was talking about when he first got started.
Well,
I'm giving you facts.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Here are some other facts. The Sammy, Kevin, AJ story is absolutely killing SmackDown Live. The ratings are down bigly ever since they became the main story. It is overly played out and boring. And frankly, I don't buy Sammy or Kevin in a main event role. It's just been terrible, and I'm tired of it, and I'm tired of watching the three of them wrestle, and I'm ready for something else. So I do applaud them for mixing it up a little bit, and we saw the ratings go up, and I think that's why. But let's just get this shit over with.
If it would have, no, I don't watch it because I think it's boring. If it would have led to a Daniel Bryan return, then I would have definitely got invested in it. But it's not going to, so I really don't think there's a point.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. I'm over them. Not over Sammy and Kevin. They're two of my favorites. But the way they're being written is just completely pathetic.
I mean, did you see the attendance? I tweeted out some pictures.
No.
From people at the show. And
that bad?
Oh, half the arena was completely empty, just about.
Well, some of those pictures, I'm not saying the ones you took are fake. I'm not, but I know that people do that sometimes. Like they'll take it like 2 hours, but when the doors open and no one's in their seat yet. You know,
this was AJ Styles in the ring cutting a promo. Like this was part of the TV show.
That's not hard cam, right? It can't be.
No, it wasn't hard cam, although there was definitely seats open on hard cam side too. I saw the pictures. I mean, you know, one whole section on the hard cam side by the entrance was completely empty. I mean, it was, you know. Hey, record profits though, but record revenue, whatever it is, but you know, you can't get, you know, fucking tickets sold to these shows, and you know, I don't know. Everyone keeps saying how great wrestling is doing. You know, and I just don't agree.
I was going to go to SmackDown in Pittsburgh in March. I don't think I want to go anymore.
I mean, it's going to be a terrible show. I mean, you know, of course, it could be like Raw, and Raw was essentially the first 2 hours just a house show.
Is there a place
that you might as well just fire the writers and let them fake fight for 2 hours, and that's fine. Does
Road Dogg still brag about how good he's doing on Twitter?
I don't know.
Did he block you?
Yeah, he could have. Who knows? But I mean, I don't know. I just, you know, I don't know how anybody could think they're doing a good job if that's the product they're putting out.
Well, again,
it's terrible. Like nobody could look at that and say it's good.
It's about the finish, not how you get there, right?
Yeah, like, okay, so a source in WWE told me that basically everybody who works there knows it's like not good.
So then why do they keep going to work?
I mean, the product. Well, I don't. They go to get paid. I mean,
I understand, but it's really, really bad. I mean, hell, when Jeff Jarrett was on his way out, he had to drop the belt to China, and he made Vince pay him $300K just to do it. Granted, that was the mid to late 90s, but just don't do it. Say, no, this sucks. That was one of the good things that CM Punk did and Chris Jericho did. They would say, no, that sucks.
Well, guys are so afraid now. Like, they're still walking on eggshells. Like, you know, it's not just the wrestlers, it's the employees, too.
Like Ziggler signed a contract just to put everyone over?
Yeah, he's basically like, you know, screw it. Like, you know, he really was going to leave in spite of Justin Barrasso's fake news report. And I don't think the amount is right either, but that he reported. But he really was going to leave. He was more likely to leave than not. And he just said, you know what? He'll do a little bit of time at a good salary, and he'll do whatever they want. And then, you know, he's probably going to just move on. So, I mean, he doesn't really care. He's, you know, he's just going to do whatever and then move on. He's just kind of accepted the reality.
He should have just left. So I would have done.
Well, not me. I mean, if they're going to give me a large six-figure salary
to be an idiot on TV every week,
absolutely.
I guess I do.
If you're going to give me that much money, I'll shovel shit. I'll clean toilets. I'll dig ditches. I will do whatever you want, and that's basically what he's going to do. So,
yeah, well, figuratively speaking. So, Impact Wrestling, I make more than some of their wrestlers. Most of their wrestlers, which I think is awesome. Because now I don't want to work for them ever. Well, they won't be a company in a few years. Vince Russo revealed to the world that most wrestlers are not, or they're only paid about $150 per appearance. Wow.
And that information was actually given to him by Crimson, who's a former Impact Wrestling.
Well, he would know.
Talent. Yeah, he would know. And so those of you who were wondering on Twitter who the source was, it's Crimson. But, you know, man, that is just
bad.
It's bad. It's like, how can you accept that just to be on TV? You know, I don't know if it's a starting point early in your career. That's one thing, to get on TV and build a brand, but you know, to be there for years and doing that, you'd just be better off on the indies.
It's not wrong. Well, I mean, heck, I think Cody Rhodes is a liar, but he did say that he makes more now doing what he does than he did in WWE.
Yeah,
so,
I think he's, you know, well,
I think he's lying. No. But my point is, there is money to be made in the indie scene if you work hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly more than $150 per appearance for someone who's a former Impact Wrestling talent, you would presume.
I mean, hell, didn't Emma want like $3,000 per appearance?
Yeah, she wanted a pretty high rate.
Yeah, wait, here it is. $2,000 per appearance. And that doesn't even include first class airfare and creative control.
And a free get out of jail free card. You know, it's got to be included just in case.
Yeah.
You got to buy a phone case every once in a while.
Still, there's money to be made. Just leave. Just leave.
Yeah, I know I certainly would. You know, I wouldn't be such a big mark for myself that I would stay around for that much per appearance.
No. I would leave after I drop below minimum wage. I would have left. Period. Done. End of story. Done. End of story. It's ridiculous. I like Vince Russo for spilling that. That's awesome.
The funny thing too was, so someone on Twitter, when I said that on Twitter, I think someone caught wind of that and were, you know, a little bit outraged by it, and so they tagged a couple of people from Impact, Scott D'Amore, and who else was it? So they tagged a couple of executives from Impact Wrestling anyway, is the point, and asked them to comment and confirm this story. And you know, I said, well, look, first of all, I hate when people do that stuff, tattle tagging, as I call it. But you know what? Tag them all you want. It doesn't matter, because they're not going to fucking answer you, dude. Do you think they're really going to go in there and say, oh, yeah, you know, you're right. It's $150 a night we give these talents. Sure. Yep. Oops. Sorry. Oh, well, that is what it is. No, of course not.
They'll say no or block you, one or the other, or not answer you. There's 3 options. Neither of them are what that he or she would want.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett, I already mentioned him. I called it. I said he'd be in the Hall of Fame last week, and damn, I knew it. What a guess that I had. I have a gift for that, I think. Nothing from that? Nothing at all?
No, nothing at all.
Double J is in the Hall of Fame. Would you look at that?
Yeah, so the Double J thing was interesting.
Politics.
It gained traction this year, 2018, right? It was not something... it wasn't originally discussed whatsoever. He was not even considered last year, you know. It's definitely something that came about this year. And, yeah, there was a list going around, like he could be added. And, you know, Mark Henry was on that too. And Mark Henry, based on the information I have as to what they're doing for him behind the scenes, it would appear that, you know, he's joining as well. But yeah, it was very surprising. And so, you know, the source who had given me the Hall of Fame list was surprised by this. And so the information kind of leads me to believe, without going into specifics because I can't, that, yeah, it was, you know, something that was this year. So recently, like a last minute thing. When I say last minute, I don't mean like literally at the 12th hour last week or something. I mean, you know, something this year. And it would almost lead me to believe that it was, in fact, a Triple H influence. You know, Jeff is tied to Jeremy Borash, who was just hired to be part of Triple H's team. kind of leads me to believe that, you know, there could be some credence to that, that whole relationship and him bringing Jarrett over. And, you know, there's a possibility, I guess we'll see, that, you know, Jarrett is not just a Hall of Fame inductee, but there's more to that.
So he could be on TV.
He could have a role in WWE behind the scenes or on TV, I think. I mean, we'll see. But, you know, based on the information I have in the report, it makes it seem like, you know, maybe he's being brought in to be part of Triple H's team. I guess we'll see. But it's a surprise. I mean, it was a total surprise and not something that was originally expected. So,
well, the guy has a good resume. 4-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 3-time U.S. champ in WCW, 6-time Intercontinental Champion. He won the European and Tag Team Championship once each. That's not so bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's okay. So a lot of his success was outside of WWE.
Oh, 6-time Intercontinental Champion is not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you know, towards the end of the WCW days, he was the main event heel. He was the world champion.
He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion 6 times.
Well, I mean, he also owned the company. He just fucking penciled himself in like a mark.
He won the TNA.
He owned the company and put himself over the other talent repeatedly, which just, you know, probably pissed him off. I could say this, though. Some people are definitely not happy about his induction into the Hall of Fame.
Of course not.
Just, you know, he made some enemies, that's for sure. I mean, he showed up to an indie show drunk, and there's some issues there. And how do you think Kurt Angle feels right now? I mean, that's literally, they worked in TNA together, and he stole Kurt Angle's wife and was sent home for it.
Must be frustrating.
You think?
Oh,
Maybe
I know.
Can have a match. Maybe they can have a match.
Maybe, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Maybe he can have a match at WrestleMania 35. Kurt versus Jarrett. The winner gets Karen.
I was gonna say, yeah. I'll just keep my comments to myself.
So yeah, WrestleMania 35. Is there another update? Is it not New York anymore? New Jersey, technically.
Well, I'm only bringing this update because really 2 reasons. One, and primarily one, is it's such a late announcement as far as, you know, where it will be. And 2 is there's a handful of people on my Twitter, always in my notifications, speculating that it could be Detroit.
Ew. Why?
Yeah, there's a Road to WrestleMania show in Detroit. It's going to be Detroit.
Ew.
Blah, blah, blah. Plans have changed. Okay. So I just wanted to bring an update. That's all. This update comes from last week. And okay, so last year's announcement was early January. Again, it's obviously past that now.
Yeah.
So they're waiting longer this year, and I'm told it's definitely still on at MetLife Stadium. Okay, so that hasn't changed. And so I know it's, you know, people speculate, especially when the announcement's delayed. But the holdup in announcement does appear to be related to selecting a venue. Okay, so Access was at the Izod Center, WrestleMania 29, and that's been shut down, so it can't be there. And so they would have to find a different venue in the area. That could be a little tricky. There's a few options, but, you know, so basically it's selecting a venue for Access, for the Hall of Fame, or Raw and or SmackDown Live. So it's one of those shows that they're selecting a venue for that is likely the delay, I'm told, but it has nothing to do with the actual MetLife Stadium venue itself.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. I still don't see it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and those WrestleMania venue decisions, those are by and large Vince McMahon's decision.
Of course they are.
So if you want WrestleMania to be in Detroit and it's not, blame Vince.
Hey, Vince knows best, right? Man, that could have been a really good sitcom or reality show. Oh my god. Well,
like diarrhea jokes. And,
was it burritos with ketchup on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm
burrito.
What's it? Yeah.
It's what you're eating, pal.
Did you ever hear the story about Santino Marella in the plane, the company jet?
Why don't you tell me, and maybe it'll ring a bell.
Okay, so they're on the jet. They're going somewhere, and Santino's on it, or not Santino? Who the hell was it? Santino's obviously involved in the story. I'll just say, since I can't remember, it's irrelevant who was watching it. I'll just say a writer. So a writer is watching something on the plane, and it's Freddie Prinze Jr. Formerly, he was one of the top writers of Raw for a long time. Freddie Prinze Jr. was just on the plane, and he was watching Richard Pryor, legendary comedian, one of the funniest men maybe who have ever lived. He's watching stand-up of Richard Pryor on the plane, and Vince comes over to him, and he says, "What are you watching?" He's like, I'm watching Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I remember the story now.
Yeah. Vince goes, "Well, goddamn. You don't need to watch that. We have Santino."
Yeah, he's in the WWE bubble. You want to watch comedy? You watch WWE's, you watch this show and you watch this character. What? The guy doesn't know jack shit about anything other than WWE. It's pretty obvious. I mean, this is the guy who thought a Papa Roach song would be the good new theme song to Raw recently. That would have been great like a decade and a half ago.
You're right. So, okay, we're getting near the end here. Speaking of the bubble, and let's preview some Elimination Chamber, shall we? We don't need to pick because I'll win, so we'll negate that inevitable moment. So let's just talk about the Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy. Whoever gets the lowest reaction wins the match.
That's going to be hard because I think it's such a bad feud that nobody cares. So it could be a draw. Maybe they'll just stare at each other and laugh.
Yeah, probably. No, they don't even have to go into the ring. They can just. All they have to do is just stay on the Titantron and laugh at each other and cut away. Maybe then the fans will understand it. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, boy.
That's been terrible.
What a freaking disaster. Okay. Nia Jax versus Asuka. If Nia wins, not only does she break Asuka's undefeated streak, which is a monumental occasion, she gets to be in the title match at WrestleMania, which leaves WrestleMania, or which leaves the Women's Royal Rumble completely meaningless.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey, Asuka, what the fuck is her? Okay, her name's Nia. Okay.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yes.
Yeah, Nia. I'm bad.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. I actually have not been drinking either. So.
NyQuil.
No, Nia was the other option that they considered to win the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, they believe, in her strongly, and her fake fighting skills aren't the best, but I believe she presents the second biggest threat to Ronda Rousey, just from a mainstream audience standpoint. That physical presence she has is more believable. So they just have to present her the right way. Again, it's like, she's not like most girls. Well, what does that mean? Because she certainly is wearing a lot of makeup and is done up like a lot of the other girls, but she's just, bigger.
Yeah.
So is that really what it means? She's not like most girls because she's big. Let her just be like a Karma. You know what I mean? Let her just go out there and kick butt and I don't know. I don't think they present her the right way, but yeah, it should be an interesting match because I'm not sure what they're going to do with Nia.
Hey, Ronda Rousey's going to fight Stephanie. Damn it. Because that's a big match.
Yeah.
Hey, We have the contract signing. Cool.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey, and I'm really looking forward to her pointing up the WrestleMania sign. That'll be a really key moment in the segment.
Well, how many? I'm setting the over/under at 4.5. How many? You taking the over or the under for her pointing at the WrestleMania sign?
Oh, I think she's obviously going to point at it at least 6 times.
Well, Vince is going to say, she's going to have an IFB in her ear, and Vince is going to do it, touch it, point to it, and then she'll do it. Do it again.
Do it again. Again? I just did it twice. Do it again. Okay, 3 times. God damn it, do it again.
Yeah, because they have to believe she wants to be there. She points at. So
well, she could start perhaps by not smiling so much, like she's a kid in a chocolate factory.
Well, she is. She's loved wrestling forever.
I know, but she can't do that. If she's going to be presented like a female Brock Lesnar, she has to present herself like a female Brock Lesnar. Just like she did in the UFC fights. If you watched her come out for a UFC fight, that's how she presented herself.
I agree.
She's got to be able to do that in WWE. So
I
hope
also
she does.
agree. Well, she might not. The Bar versus Titus Worldwide pre-show match?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, they don't have a lot of matches announced for this card, so I'm thinking...
Good.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Bar goes over strong style. Titus Worldwide.
You can... That should be a t-shirt. Best line of that night, by far. That should be a t-shirt. That or having Kurt tell everyone to have to send his son get better wishes.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Some Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, the women. Alexa Bliss, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose isn't going to know what to do. Mickie James, Sasha, and Bayley. It's fair to say that Sasha and Bayley will just set up for their WrestleMania singles match.
Yeah.
Mickie and Alexa will team up, and then Alexa will turn on Mickie and win the match. And then Sonya and Mandy will team up but get taken out by something.
Probably themselves.
Yeah, so Alexa's going to win by complete default.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get it all? Is that it?
Yeah, I guess I would presume so.
Okay. Now this one's interesting. Seth, Finn, Roman, Braun, Miz, and Elias. The winner fights Lesnar at WrestleMania. As of right now. There's a lot that can change. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't think Roman is a lock for this. I really don't. I might be a naive idiot, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
Let's say this. Would you be surprised if Strowman won? I'm not saying someone like The Miz is going to win. Like, we all know that. But
I mean, Strowman could be heading to feud with The Miz. I mean, okay, so John Bravo is coming out soon with his alleged evidence that Roman Reigns has been purchasing steroids.
He keeps saying that. He's not delivering. He keeps saying it.
He has provided some hints of proof, but hasn't actually delivered the proof. He has just recently, as recent as today, as we record this on a Thursday, provided more recent information. He actually said that Roman Reigns' drug test failure in 2016 was from drugs purchased through WFN. So, which would counter reports at the time. Dave Meltzer said it was an Adderall suspension.
Yeah.
And this would seem to completely prove that false, if true. The bottom line is we have to wait and see before we decide and let the facts dictate what happened. But it's putting WWE in a very precarious position, and he knows that. John Bravo knows that. And so it's really getting down to the wire. Yeah, barring that, I still think Roman Reigns wins. I mean, plans could change depending on how ugly this gets. But I would still put Roman as a favorite to win and face Brock unless something drastic happens.
I was going to say, he is the favorite. I won't disagree there, but I still think there's a chance Braun walks out of there as the winner. I really do.
I think Braun should be the guy that wins. I mean, if it were me, Braun would be winning. Braun would be defeating Brock Lesnar. Braun is more of the guy to me than Roman Reigns is.
He is. You're right. So then, hey, light bulb. because the rumor now is that Dean was going to screw over the Shield and turn heel and face Roman for the belt after Mania.
Yeah.
Why not fantasy book a little bit? Here's my armchair right here. Have Dean return, because we all know he's okay now. Dean return, screw over Seth and Roman. Have that triple threat at Mania everyone wants to see. Have Roman win. Fine, who cares? Whatever. But that would give them all something to do. And I think it'd be a good opportunity. You can still have it as like the middle of the show, the second main event.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. You know, it's like, as you know, I'm a big Dean Ambrose fan.
I know.
And so for him to get injured, he's really been just a rock for them. He's been so solid and reliable and steady for years without major injury. And
yep.
And then come to find out that he was going to get a big break and, you know, go on to feud with Roman as a heel, which would have been great.
I think he still can. He still can.
To Seth Rollins.
Yeah. He still can. It'll happen. But that
we'll see.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. We'll see.
But yeah, everyone enjoy the Elimination Chamber. Please tweet Brad your thoughts, because I know he loves to hear them, no matter how ridiculous, and he doesn't judge you at all. Imagine that. Where can they tweet you their thoughts on Elimination Chamber? Somewhere, I'm sure.
Sure. They can tweet me at @TheBradShepard. At @TheBradShepard, SHEPARD.
I don't think they heard you yet.
Well, that's too bad then. You can find my work. I'm the managing editor of bodyslam.net, and you can check that out for pro wrestling and MMA news. TheBradShepard.com is a repository of all of my journalistic work, and I'm also a contributor for No Coast Bias, a sports and entertainment website. And I'm always keeping it 100.
Oh, jeez. Are you?
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see about that. John Fisher TV for me, Wrestling News Hub on Facebook. Anything at all? Anything left? Come on, you gotta have something. It's week 7 already.
Banging your head against a wall burns 150 calories an hour. Think about that.
You're telling me that's what Road Dogg does when he writes SmackDown?
I'm going to tell you that that's what we all do when we watch SmackDown.
SmackDown's great for taking naps.
And losing weight.
Yeah, that too. And I'll give you this extreme fact. It actually takes 142.18 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
I'm just going to leave that one alone.
And another thing, they took down Ric Flair's sex agreement, which was the funniest thing I read in probably a decade.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not going to go over too well with the audience today and the timing, but obviously it's, you know, classic Ric Flair.
The Ric Flair, if anyone wants to Google that, the Ric Flair sexual consent contract.
Jesus. That guy is something else, I'll tell you.
It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It really is. All right, everyone, have a safe and enjoyable week. We'll talk to you then.
Peace.